So I would like to introduce you to, now I know this is wrong, I'm going to say ОляUA, is what it looks like to me, obviously. Pause this real quick because this stuff starts pretty quick. Sort of new account, I mean 2,000-ish battles roughly on, granted it's more than that because of arcade, but it's a level 50 account and he is negative in the vehicle he's currently cheating in. Now, the weird thing about this player that I've looked at with a couple of his replays, he's also in Kursk, if anyone cares. They're a top 20, well, granted, that was back in 2020, but they were a top 20 arcade squadron. But you'll see pretty quickly here, the first real indicator that I see, actually there's two indicators, that he stares at a leopard through the wall up here in a sec. You'll see pretty soon, right about... Not that one. It's past here. The Valkyrie guy there. You'll see in a sec. Right there. Staring center mass at him. Couldn't see him, so he moves over. But then he shoots at our friend over here, which you cannot remotely see. Even in the OQ, you can't see that. The bush density, there's three. If you know Ardennes, there's like 3 or 4 lines of trees and bushes before you even see that. And then he decides to shoot at him again. The weird thing about this player is that this could potentially be a stolen account or what I've known a lot of people what's called shared accounts. So if you know about, there's an incident a while ago called what we, like a couple people also like to call it, called the Black Rose incident. So Black Rose was a competitive player who, if you know a lot of top tier players or top tier squadrons, they actually share accounts with each other. Well, Black Rose ended up playing on his own account, but as well as like 3 other people's accounts and getting them all banned because Black Rose was a cheater. Shared accounts are really popular among top tier squadrons. Now, granted, this isn't a top tier squadron, but based on newer replays of this player, he either has stopped cheating or the person who owns the account isn't cheating on it anymore. Because I checked basically all of our records around this account, which was about the 24th of May when this replay was, to any of his newer ones, which were around the 30th of May, and he is not playing suspicious at all. There is a big difference between his play style between then and now. And the funny thing is that he's not super aggressive with the way he cheats, but you could see with his first 2 shots there that he was dead on aiming at something that he can't see, or dead on aiming through shrubbery and stuff that he literally cannot see through. Now, the biggest thing with that, if you have to remember, is that people are gonna cheat on other people's accounts, and they will do that just because they absolutely can. And you can see him staring. I mean, granted, there's markers there, but like the markers aren't exactly where the target is, and he's staring center mass at the targets. So that should be kind of a dead giveaway. And I think someone already, yeah, someone calls him ESP. I think that was the, ZTZ that he killed earlier. But you have to remember that people are going to cheat regardless of this game. Now, there is somebody in my comments section who has been talking about how they are a cheat maker. I won't mention their name if you want to go search for them, but the thing is, they're right, unfortunately. Until Gaijin develops a better anti-cheat or their own anti-cheat or uses a better one, cheaters will always exist. And I think anyone really knows that. But the main reason why I do this channel, as always, is that it's to educate people what to look for. There are so many people on YouTube who drop in quote-unquote cheater replays without having any knowledge of what actual cheating is. There's a guy that I've seen several times post. He disables his comments because apparently he thinks he's objectively right, but he claims that AirRB has infinite ammo for missiles. Now, granted, we saw that really egregious G91 cheater, but this player who claims this doesn't know that missiles occasionally just don't disappear off the rail in replays. And he just assumes that's the way the way it is. So that's the issue I have with players. Now, granted, newer players might not know this. That's a good thing to know. But there's also a lot of people I get in my comments who are like, "Hey, this player's cheating," when in reality it was a sound thing, and they were really close. It's why I look at larger maps. It's why I look at certain replays and certain perspectives. It's why I tend to say, hey, go look at the server replay, even though the server replay is not perfect, because localized replays are just as bad, because localized replays will actually not show what the player is viewing, or a quote-unquote scouted target, or a sighted target. So sighted targets are like what Arcade has, where, oh my god, this view site is so bad. Oh, epilepsy, I love it. I'm gonna, yeah. Click off that, click back in, maybe? Yeah. But the general premise is that there's always gonna, see this guy shooting straight at people that you can't see that are invulnerable. But the general premise is, yes, there's always gonna be cheaters, but yes, you need to know what to look for. The upside is that the Clapstall player that I reviewed yesterday, or not yesterday, yeah, a couple days ago in my replay, that player got banned like right after he got kicked from Semtex, which is good because that means that there's enough reports going out on suspicious players in these things. The problem is there's certain players that Gaijin still refuse to do access against, or still refuse to take any action against, and it's getting absurd that Gaijin, yeah, see, oh my god, the fucking replays. Yeah, someone's already calling him out in chat. That, yeah. So see, like a few people have called him out in the chat. Now, he's obviously not going to chat back on it, but the general premise is that you need to know what to look for, and Gaijin will hopefully do something about it, which clearly they did with the Clapstall character. So I'm gonna leave this here. As always, if you have a report, please leave it in the comments. I would ask that you do it on the player ID and or the template that I use in my comments. If you put it anywhere else in the thing, I can still look for it, but I generally search by like the ID when I type in like ID on it. If the name is weird or doesn't as Chinese, you don't have to put that in. Mainly the ID and the replay. If you're a console player, try to get as close to the name as possible, or at least get the replay file and describe it to me, because that makes it a little bit easier to find as well. Because I know recently YouTube has been censoring like full Chinese names. They've been censoring full links. Obviously, they do that no matter what. And yes, there's a couple of ways to get around sending me the thing. But ideally, name, ID, replay, the numbers at least, and then a description of what you're seeing with the replay is also helpful. And if you have timestamps, that's good as well. So as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night, and have a good one.